Hello everyone, Rare Model Reviews here, and today I'll be reviewing the high-grade Nemo from the Zeta Gundam. Let's say from the Zeta Gundam because there is a second version of this thing, which is basically the exact same thing, but it's modeled in the desert colors from Unicorn. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe surprisingly, this thing first was released as the desert version from the Unicorn, then they did a recolor of it in the Zeta Gundam colors. Again, don't quote me on that. I can't say from looking at the runners, there was one piece that like it was like taken out from the runner, as in like they basically went back and like cut it out of the runner, so it's just like not there. So there's only a few things left over from the runner itself, and I believe they're all polycaps. I could be wrong though, but moving on. uh, Color separation, this thing's not too bad. The only issue with it really is the fact there is zero red on it whatsoever. So all of the reds you see from like the thrusters and whatnot, those were all stickers, and this thing had a decent bit more than I realized from when I unboxed this thing. But overall, the stickers went in decent enough, and I'm pretty satisfied the way this thing turned out. There's a little bit of coloring you still have to do, like for example, the Vulcans. I meant to color those gray. There's like some details, and I could take this off at this point. Hold on, let me turn this thing off too. There we go. Okay. So yeah. Uh the pistons, you could make that out. Let's see, I get actually no, I think they're another way. I don't want to way. There we go. Get this thing to focus. There we go. Good camera. So yeah, these could be like silver instead of just gray, so those could pop a little bit. But overall, not bad detail for a high grade though. Like if you can make out in the back of the legs there's like two more pistons back there. You could probably color those silver. But overall, very good looking kit, very sturdy. I mean, I just built it, so I can't talk about how loose it is yet. That happened over time. But one cool thing I wanted to point out about it is the cameras here. They have like the detail of like these little lines. You can see that. Um, those are gray. I actually unliked it. And then, of course, as I'm building it, it tells you to put a silver sticker on top of it. That way, when you put the clear orange part, it really kind of has that glowy effect for it. So I really like that. There's also an alternate sticker for this if you wanted to make it red. I think that might have been left over from the Desert Zaku, but I could be wrong. It's Zaku, geez. Desert Nemo, but I could be wrong. But it's not really anything else to really glaze over this thing. Everything else would be all part of the review. One thing I can say is I'm not sure what's the reason for these like grooves here. They look they should be hard points, but I don't believe anything in the menu called for you to use them. I could be wrong. It might be actually one thing you can do it. We'll get to that in a minute though, but moving on along. Uh articulation. So unfortunately, due to like the little ear pieces here, it kind of gets away on the neck movement a little bit. You can still of course get it 360, but you can hear it kind of knocking into it. So just be careful with that. You don't want to break nothing. The neck can move forward and back a little bit, move down a smidge, up a little bit. Of course, wiggle back and forth, side to side, because it's like a ball joint under there. It is like it's actually technically two ball joints. There's one on the top, one on the bottom. So again, that's kind of what gives it this decent bit of posability from that. So not bad. 360 in the arm. Arm go out a decent bit because there's like a ball joint here and there's like a separate movable joint here. So not bad articulation for the arm. The arm is actually decent. I say decent. Ooh, I keep popping off this hand because unfortunately this is the most you're getting out of an arm, just like a 90-degree bend. But it does make up for it by having a separate peg here that allows you to spin this thing around. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not realize how much this hand popped out until I start trying to review this thing. But it's on a ball joint, so that of course can just swivel, wobble around. Now, one thing I'm gonna say now, and I'll mention a little bit when I bring out the size comparisons, but compared to the Gemma 3, these hands aren't that bad. As you can see, I'm kind of pulling on them. They're just fine. It's just when you kind of bump into them, sometimes you'll knock them off because, again, it's just a little ball joint. But moving on. The front armor can move up pretty high, which is good because it makes sure that the articulation isn't hampered. This is the modern style of front armor. So it's the two balls that you clip the crotch piece here over, and if you wanted you could cut them out, which of course I did. That way you could move the front armor independently, otherwise they'd be together, and I don't like that, especially when you do like a pose like this. Having them both up like that just looks awkward, so I always cut those out when I can. I said when I can because you really gotta look at what kind of connecting piece here. If it's again two ball joints with a little thin gray slab there, you can cut it. I made this mistake on my high grade gun cannon from ages ago. It was just one flat rounded peg type piece that's like holding both of them together. I cut that in half. As a result, the front armor wouldn't stay on at all, so I really fudged that one up. But that was years ago when I was first starting out, so live and learn. The rear armor is fixed, so it does not move. The beam sabers, one cool thing about this, these are actually in a bracket here, so I'll take those out later, of course, for accessories, but I just wanted to point that out because there are some kits where they'd have the beam sabers here, but it's like fixed. You can't use them. They give you some separate, stupid, cheap-looking thing instead, so moving on. The waist armor only moves slightly to the side. It doesn't really hamper the leg movement much. I mean, I could try it with this side. Let's see if I take this off. Slightly hampers it, ever so slightly, but not so much that I'd really rant or rave about it. Although I imagine you could probably modify this thing a little bit to make it move out and do a split if you want it. I don't really see much reason for you want to do a split though. I think the leg postability is decent enough. Again, only decent, much like the arms, 90-degree bend. And I'm not sure if you maybe modify this, you'd be able to get more out of it or not. Same with the arms, but it's not the end of the world. I've seen worse opposing kits. So there's like a 3-jointed mechanism here from, of course, the ball joint holding the ankles. And this like a little flap, kind of gives you kind of a bit of a flip-flop action there. But that's really about it for the legs. Of course, on the ball joints, it go 360. And it can pivot side to side. So that's actually great for some ground poses, as you can get decent wide poses out of this thing. Not too wide, but again, decent enough. So lastly, I almost forgot the waist armor. It's like got a ball joint and a peg type combo here, but ooh, as you can see, you can kind of spin it around, although that snap tells me you probably shouldn't do that. So I'm going to stop right there with that. But that's it for articulation. So now we're going to get into accessories. So for the accessories, usually I pick the camera up and just show up, but you know, I don't got time for that. Oop. So it comes with 2 grasping hands here. Also want to point out these things are actually pretty decently detailed as well. Get this thing to focus. So nice little details in there. Back in hands as well. Fists too. These are actually some of the most I don't want to quite say detailed, but intricate hands I've ever seen on a high grade. This is actually like 4 pieces you put together. Oh, if I can get it in the center. There's like the knuckle here. There's the thumb, the palm, and then the actual backing piece. So I've never seen a high grade hand with so many pieces to build it, and it really pays off, as the fists, in my opinion, look really good. Then of course there is the hands for holding the beam sabers. So I'm actually going to go ahead and stick those on right now, and we're going to go over the beam sabers. So I have a big gripe with these things. It's fine now, but a lot of times, especially when I was building this thing, these things kept coming off. I think if you push them back in enough, they kind of stay. But then you get to this problem, which I'll actually show now. If you push them in too much, for starters, it looks kind of awkward like this. And two, sometimes it makes this little connecting piece kind of back off, and then that flings somewhere. So then you got to go grab that and put it back on. And you also got to really be careful with this thing, because you honestly could probably just glue this thing on to avoid all these issues first and foremost. But sometimes you slide the beam sabers out, there's too much friction in there, and then this thing ends up popping off. So I say when you pulling out the beam sabers, kind of hold on to it like this and then grab it out, and it should be fine. But the beam sabers are actually decently detailed. Let me actually show you off one. Get this thing to focus on the beam saber. So as you can see, there's like these little grooves in there, groove on the bottom, and then even on the top there. I try to line it, but I mean, you're lining something that's like this navy blue color, it's not going to come out too well. But again, it comes with 2 beam sabers, which is really cool. It's actually very rare for grunt suits to even have beam sabers. 2 of them, rather. But it comes with 2 fluorescent green of the original high-grade beam sabers, and this is where this thing gets its first really negative mark. I cut some slack, the articulation being kind of bad, although I think I've seen kits from, I believe this came out 2013, that had better articulation than this. But anywho, holding the beam saber just like this, it's fine. But as you can see, that thing flops right down. You want to know why that's the case? Because they put the wrong beam sabers in this thing. This thing was given the original high-grade beam sabers in the kit. In the menu, by the way, because I said in unboxing that I don't remember this thing having green beam sabers. Even on the manual itself, it shows green beam sabers. Um, so again, I don't know if that's supposed to be the case or not, but I'm pretty sure this is a reprint because in the menu it has the red logo, but on the box and whatnot, it's the blue logo. Um, Regardless, thankfully I had two extra beam sabers laying around from who knows what. I think these might have came from the high grade destroy Gundam. I don't know why I said high grade. It only comes in one grade, but these are a bit longer because again, these are the real grade style beam sabers, so they're a bit longer. I do kind of hate how long that real grade beam sabers are because I actually have it right here. Uh, this is the master grade beam saber, and it's like almost as long. It's a little bit shorter, I guess. Now that I actually look at it, but I don't know. I just feel like the real grade beam sabers are a little too long. I kind of like the length of the original high grade beam sabers, but um, you rarely see anything use these high grade beam sabers anymore. They kind of phase those out in favor of the real grade ones. So the real grade beam sabers fits in just fine, as you can see. Hold it upside down, it's just fine. So thankfully I had that to remedy it. But if you don't, of course, have any green beam sabers lying around, really any real grade beam saber at all, the beam sabers and this thing are practically unusable because, again, they just don't fit in the grooves here. So it's very disappointing that they made the grooves fit for a real grade beam saber, but gave a high grade beam saber. I don't know how that happened. Um, it seems like that should be something that is fixable because this is just literally something they could just throw in the box. I don't think it's that huge an issue where like it really throws everything off on whack because I mean they use the same frame or whatever template to mold these things, so like it's not like it's a custom mold of that beam saber. But let me not sit here and ramble about a beam saber all day. We're getting into the shield. So the shield is actually really cool. I didn't even realize the Nemo could do this because I don't believe it's a mass-produced version of Gundam Mark II, which is the only suit I've seen that could do this. But of course, the shield has this compact mode, and it's the typical shield bracket where you just kind of put it in the back of the arm there like so. And there's another groove. You can just take it out of the peg in the shield. Ooh, okay, that works too. Try that again. So you just take it out of the peg in the shield, spin it around, put it to the other version there. And as I said, this thing looks like the Mark II shield. So you can see there's like these square pegs here and then the holes, line it in there. And now you got the shield in this extended state. And then spin this around, put this in the back of the arm. So now give it a bit of a blocking pulls, what have you there. Or you can spin the arm sideways and have the shield hold like this. So very cool. Definitely like the shield. I love how thin it is too. This is, in my opinion, how like stuff for the mass-produced suits should look. They should be, you know, budget-looking suits. So instead of having the gem where it's literally using the Gundam shield to the point that I don't know if it's an anime, but at least for the master grade, it's white, you know, whereas the gem's like turquoise. It's this thin shield, very small, barely even covers, you know, the body. You know, it covers enough of the cockpit and a little bit of the arm and stuff, but it just feels right, you know, it just feels budget, like, again, a grunt suit should be. So the beam rifle, not too complicated. It's like maybe 5 pieces you slap together, if not 4. Red sticker there for the scope. Does have a swivel mechanism, which not all high grades can do, which is one thing I hate. It's the lack of quality with some stuff. You have suits all the way back in 2002 or whatever that have, you know, this swivel thing. And then you could have something from like 2017. It's just 2 pieces of plastic you slap together and that's it, you know. It's just the lack of quality put in some of these suits is just very disappointing. But again, little difficult, but you can have the Nemo here hold the rifle in one hand and then put the handle in the other, so it makes for a very cool shooting pose there. But the one thing I almost forgot about too, geez, I didn't mean to take the hand off with it. I wanted to actually see if you could because there's like, if you can see here, there's like this little bar here, it looks almost like a heart point I'm curious if maybe you could put the rifle on the side. Oh, and you can. Okay. I don't believe the man you told you could do this, but that's actually very cool. So you actually can put the rifle to the side. I'm actually gonna take this out. So of course, just two pieces you just wedge together to hold the rifle. Nothing to write home about, but actually that's actually very cool. So okay, you can actually hold the rifle on the side of those hard points. I had a feeling that was the case. I've never tried it until now, but that's actually very cool. It does come out kind of easy. I just kind of barely flicked my hand onto it and it fell off, but again, not a big deal. And again, looks very cool. So I'm very glad that I experimented with that real quick. If I can just get the shield back on real quick. There we go. So that's really it for the Nemo. Geez. Only thing left now is just a size comparison. So I'm going to kind of stand him upright, get a proper size of him, and I'm going to bring out, dare I say, his successor, the Gem 3. So as you can see, the Nemo appears to be a bit taller. I'm sorry, Nemo appears to be a bit taller than the Gem 3. Not the same size, I can't quite tell. And then I'm going to bring out the J here. This is actually a unicorn version. Move them over a little bit. So the J is around the same height, if not a little smaller. I honestly can't quite tell. Geez. I don't know why this thing's split in half. But there we go. Get that back on in there. But yeah, so yeah, I think this thing is actually smaller, but yeah. That's really it. This of course does have a hole in the waist. You can make that out because it's so dark. For you to put this thing on a stand, I'm not gonna go crazy and do that. It goes on a stand. I mean, is there really reason to show that off? But yeah. Overall, I'm gonna recommend this thing. It's simple. It's not too expensive. It's maybe like $10, give or take. And overall, just a very good looking kit. Decent bit of accessories. You know, it comes with what you expect the Nemo to come with. Although it does have a bit of a lackluster articulation. I mean, let's be honest, it's a Nemo. What do you really expect it to do besides, you know, hold a gun up in a shield, fly, or just stand like so? So it does its job very well. You know, it's a very middle of the line kit. It's nothing extraordinary or crazy. It's not like this guy here has a pretty good bit of accessories. You can see it has so many accessories that are falling off the darn thing. But yeah, this is not really anything much to say. I'm not gonna lie. I actually planned on reviewing the Alizeus first, but that thing does so much, and I barely have experience taking it apart and whatnot for the review. So I'm like, let me just do something simple. So I built this thing like a day or two ago. Let's just throw the review out. So we'll see if I'm up to reviewing the Alizeus this week. I might kind of play around with it, and then when I feel like I know it enough, then I'll review it. But overall, that's really it for this review here. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do, and stay tuned for the next video or review. Take care.